I'm going to be telling you guys about how I managed and invested my six-figure salary as a software engineer at Amazon, which allowed me to eventually retire at the age of 23 years old. What's going on, Flex and Financials fam? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Cam, and I'm glad that you're tuning in today so that you can take one step closer to getting yourself to financial freedom. Here at Flex and Financials, I talk about investing and trading, personal finance, and personal development. So if that sounds like something that you're into, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, join the family. We'd love to have you. And if you didn't know, it's free 99. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram at Flex and Financials. I literally post every single day on that platform. That's where I'm the most reachable. If you have questions, I post awesome daily gems. You definitely don't want to miss it. And if you just want to see what it's like, to be a day-to-day early retiree. I retired at 23 years old, and I'm going to explain how I was able to do it in this video. Go ahead and follow me there. You are definitely missing out if you're not following. So now that we got all that out of the way, I'm going to be telling you guys about how I managed and invested my six-figure salary as a software engineer at Amazon, which allowed me to eventually retire at the age of 23 years old. I'm going to break down how much of my salary was spent on expenses, so taxes obviously, then rent, food, subscription services, things like that, utilities. Followed by that, I'm going to be talking about how I contributed to my traditional retirement accounts. So that's my 401k, my traditional IRA, and my Roth IRA, right? So what that breakdown was between those accounts. After that, I'm going to be breaking down how much I spent to actually buying stocks in my brokerage account. And finally, I'm going to briefly, and I mean briefly, talk about how I used options to generate additional income, which eventually allowed me to be able to retire early. So, before we jump in, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hit the like button. It helps out the channel a ton. It's going to help this video get exposure to other people looking for something similar. So, go ahead, click it, and let's get started. Alright, so first, let's break down the salary compared to monthly expenses. So, as a software engineer at Amazon, I was entry level, so my base pay was $9,500 a month, pre-tax. Uncle Sam took about $2,300 or so of that money, so that leaves us with about $7,200 left. Of that $7,200, my rent here in this apartment cost me $1,938 per month, and then the utilities on top of that, it pretty much comes out to like $2,040 a month. Yes, I know Seattle is mad expensive, and I probably still could have found a cheaper place, but I mean, come on. I'm a young guy, I have very little liabilities. I'm bougie, I wanted the water view, so I got this place. Alright, so now we're down to about $5,200. When it came to groceries, I spent about $300 a month. When it came to subscriptions, that was around $150 a month, and I gave myself an allowance of eating out of $50 a month. So once you add all of that up, that's the $300 for groceries, the $150 for the subscriptions, and the $50 for the eating out. So what is that? Quick math. That's like $500 minus the $5,200. $4,700. Okay, so we've got the full breakdown, so I was left with $4,700 to invest, and that's exactly what I did. I invested that money into the stock market. Alright, so this segues us into the retirement accounts portion of the video. I'm going to teach you how I contributed to my retirement accounts, what that breakdown looked like. So, at Amazon, they gave you a company match when it came to the 401k of 50% of what you put in up to 4% of your salary. If you're not new around here, you know that I am always preaching to only invest up to the match when it comes to your 401k. So for me, that was 4%, so I took 4% of my paycheck and I put that into the 401k. So that was around like $370, and then the company would match it with like $185. When it came to the Roth IRA, I actually did the backdoor method. Now, I wasn't actually making more than the $139,000 annual salary limit to actually force me to have to do the backdoor, but I just wanted to do it just to be safe because I didn't really know what my stock market income was going to look like at the end of the year. So I did my backdoor Roth IRA $6,000 contribution in the month of January. I just did the lump sum. I wanted to get it over with. If you don't know what a backdoor Roth IRA is, it's basically a way to bypass the income limit to be able to contribute to your Roth IRA. I'm not going to go super in detail about it, that's all I'm going to say. If you want to learn more about it, you can just look up backdoor Roth IRAs here on YouTube. There's going to be tons of videos that can explain it to you. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about how I invested the remainder of my salary into individual stocks. Due to the stage of life that I'm currently in, I'm a young whippersnapper of a guy, I invested my salary heavily into individual stocks. I pretty much, outside of 6 months of expenses that I had saved up in my bank account, for like emergencies or whatever, every single dime above that I had left over went into the stock market. I was able to do this because I don't have any student loan debt, I don't have any other types of debt, I don't have any kids or like people to feed or put through college, and I wasn't making any huge purchase soon like a house or anything like that. So again, every single dime that I had left over from my paycheck went into the stock market, and this was not on a pay myself last type of vibe. Like, I took care of the necessities, and then every single penny that I had left over went into the stock market. Other than this like relatively nice apartment, I don't spend money on a lot of stuff. Like, my priority was investing. I haven't even bought myself a birthday gift in so many years. Like, I just have like stuff in my wish list on Amazon that's from like 3 years ago that I was like, oh yeah, like this will be nice, I'll treat myself, and literally still haven't done that. Alright, so that was the traditional income and paycheck portion of the video, and now I'm going to talk about how I also was able to generate additional income by the form of selling options. I'm not going to explain my strategy all in depth and stuff in this video, that's not what this video is about, but if you are interested, you should definitely look up something called selling cash secured puts and covered calls. I was basically generating income by selling people insurance on stocks and collecting rent on my stocks. That's like a super simplified explanation of covered calls and cash secured puts. So when I first started the strategy, I was only making like $300 a week, but as I continued to be consistent and do the strategy over time, those gains continued to compound, and I ended up bringing up my weekly income to like over $2,000 pretty much. Now, I know this sounds kind of crazy, and don't get me wrong, this is not gonna be like a normal story. Most people don't do this, right? Or can't even do this. It's a pretty capital intensive strategy to use, which is why I benefited from having a high salary to be able to do this strategy in the first place. So there definitely is a barrier to entry when it comes to capital needed to get started, and I would say if you don't at least have a medium-sized portfolio of like 10K minimum, you probably wouldn't benefit from the strategy as much. It's also not a get-rich-quick overnight type of strategy, so if that's something that you would be looking for, this definitely isn't for you. But like I said, it compounds over time, and I'm a true testament of this, right? I was able to retire at 23 years old in a matter of 14 months and 3 days. And that's it. That's how I managed and invested my 6-figure income as a software engineer at Amazon when I worked there. Now, again, I understand that I was and still am in a privileged position when it comes to having very little liabilities and responsibilities in terms of financial burdens. However, we must admit that I didn't let this blessing go to waste, and I actually took advantage of the opportunity that I had, and I was able to become financially literate and be disciplined and consistent and be able to create the luxury of free time and entrepreneurship that I have today. So, I hope that you enjoyed this breakdown, I hope that you found it helpful, and hopefully you can find a way to be able to duplicate something similar to this to be able to give yourself financial freedom at a pretty young age. You don't want to be retiring out here at like 60, 65, your back hurts, your knees hurt. That's not retirement, that's just you stopping working because you have to. I believe in you all. I believe that every single person watching this video can do it. It's just going to be a matter of consistency, discipline, delayed gratification, right? There's going to be some things that you have to give up to be able to give yourself that boost when it comes to your financial situation. Nothing great comes without sacrifice. And that's it. Like I said, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. I'm going to keep posting videos that are helpful like this so that you can improve your financial situation and become financially free as soon as possible. And again, if you're not following me on Instagram at Flexing Financials, go ahead and do that. I post there every single day, hella gems. You definitely don't want to miss them. If you're not following, you're missing out. And as always, make sure to take care of yourself, take care of your health, and take care of your wealth. Until next time.